Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Biking Routes, to the channel, and to Southeast Texas in Houston, where it is hot. I don't know about wherever you guys are in the world or country, but here in Texas, it is hot right now. So yeah, I wish a storm would come because it kind of cool us down a little bit. We haven't had rain for a while. But today, we're going to talk about a different storm, the Norco Storm. All right, so here it is, the 2023 Norco Storm. Now, just to talk briefly about Norco and about us, we picked up Norco last year. We primarily sell Marin, if you follow the channel, but Norco out of Canada, they're not as big in the US, but they make some pretty sweet bikes, and they are known in the mountain biking world, and this one is a great beginner option. So we're going to go over all the specs and features of this Norco Storm, but first I wanted to say who this bike is for. If you are a beginner into mountain biking, like you want to get into it, but you don't want to spend a ton of money, this is a great bike option for you. Maybe you have some kids, significant other that you want to get into the sport, but you want something that's reliable, well made, that is easy to learn. This is a great option. We picked it up because right now they are on sale as of, what's the date? August 1st is when I'm filming this. They have a great sale on a lot of the models. And so usually this is like a $900 bike, so right now it's going for $649. So that's a big savings and a pretty sweet deal. So with Norco, the way they work is the lower the number, the better the build. So this one comes in 5 different trim options. So 5 is the very beginner, also on sale, but I wouldn't recommend that one, nor the 4. And I don't think the 3 is on sale. The 2 is on sale, and I think it gives you your best bang for your buck when it comes to features and price point. All right, so as far as colors for the Storm 2, the website doesn't really do it justice. No offense, Norco, but yeah, the pictures aren't great on the website. So here it is in person. I got this one kind of, I thought it was going to look different, but I'm actually pleased with how it looks because I think it's cool. This is the kind of the blue-gray color. It also comes with like this really dark matte. It almost looks black, but it's actually a really dark blue with black lettering and this matte finish, which is cool. And then it also comes in a green, which I don't know what it looks like, so we'll probably order another one of those soon just so we can get an idea. But I like the color options, you know, the darker, subtle, a little bit brighter with the gray. I probably like this one the best personally, but I haven't seen the green one. So those are your color options. And as far as sizes, we ordered a couple larges because we couldn't get a lot of larges from Marin for the Bobcat. So with sizing for the Norco Storm 2, you have lots of size options. It starts at double extra small and it goes all the way to extra large. So when you're talking to somebody who's getting into the sport and they're kind of wondering, well, why do I need to spend more money to get a name brand bike versus like a department store bike? Well, sizing is one of the biggest things because you get so many different sizes. The department store bikes, usually you get maybe 1 or 2 sizes at the most. So yeah, 4'6" all the way up to 6'3" is what their range is on sizes, which is cool. So you can pretty much get any size. As far as wheels go, 27.5 on the smaller ones to medium. And then with medium, you can also do a 29 option, and then anything over medium, you have to do 29. I think that's a good range, so the smaller people can have the 27.5 wheels, the taller people, 29s. All right, so let's get more into the frame first, and then we'll talk about some of the specs and the different features of the bike. As far as the frame, so this head angle is, it's a 68 degrees in the 27.5, and then it goes to a 68.5 for the 29 versions. Some beginner bikes are a little bit more slack, which is kind of the trend these days. And you may be wondering, what's the point of going more slack? Well, it makes it a little bit more stable going downhill. So if you live somewhere where you have big descents, then yeah, having a slacker head angle is an advantage. If you're just cruising around, you probably won't notice, so head angle doesn't matter too much. With these newer frames though, you still have a longer front triangle and shorter rear triangle, which is nice, and low standover height, which is great, and shorter stems. So if you haven't maybe upgraded a bike in a while, you haven't been on some of the newer bikes from, I don't know, 2018 and up, you need to get on one of these newer bikes because they do ride differently and they do feel a lot better than the old mountain bikes that you may have in the garage. So this is a large frame. So as far as reach numbers, this is 455 millimeters. So in the medium, which is what I would probably ride, either 27.5 or 29, 425 millimeters is the reach. So yeah, this one's a little big on me. I got short legs, so I would definitely probably go to a medium, being 5'8" with a longer torso. But you do have a steeper seat tube angle of 75 degrees, so that's going to help with climbing, so that you can get good power down and put your weight over the bottom bracket where it needs to be. As far as axles and standards, this is a 135 millimeter axle, so quick release. Basically what's been on mountain bikes for quite a while. 100 millimeters up front. So if down the road you want to upgrade to an air fork, this makes it easy because you have a straight steer, so it's not tapered, which is good in this case because you don't have a boost or through axle, you have a straight steer. So if you go to like a RockShox Recon or a Judy or a Manitou Markor, you can just order the straight steer version with the quick release, and it's an easy, quick upgrade. We'll talk about the fork in a second, but one thing I want to mention on the frame is it just looks really well made. Compared to some of the other bikes at this price point, they smooth down the welds, which is really nice, and it just looks like a more expensive product, which I guess it is. It's on sale, so yeah, for the price that it's at now, I think it's a great value for the quality that you get. You have internal cable routing for your brake line and your drivetrain, and you have dropper post here and right down there, which is nice. And I will point out too, since we're talking about the frame, I like how they put the water bottle cage mounts lower, because some of the Marins, they put them way too high, and then you just have a shorter option for a dropper post. And this is a 31.6, by the way, is if you are upgrading or curious about the diameter. All right, let's go over the suspension. This is 100 millimeters Suntour XCM fork. So only 100 millimeters, which is fine for this type of bike for most people, especially for upgrade options, since it won't throw off the geometry too much. Could you go more travel? Yes, your bottom bracket does go up a little bit if you want to upgrade to like 120 millimeters, but you don't want to go more than that, in my opinion. It does have a lockout if that interests you. It does have a preload knob. Doesn't do too much from my experience, but it does give you that option. This is a perfect fork for most people. It's not, high end by any means, but a lot of people, if you haven't been on like nice air forks or good forks, then you're not going to notice. It's going to sort out the bumps for you and you'll be fine. Those that do notice or want something nicer, you can just upgrade to an air fork. All right, let's talk about the drivetrain. First, with the crankset, you have a Pro Wheel, 175 millimeters on the large. When you go down to really small sizes, they're 170 millimeters. This is a 30-tooth narrow wide, non-removable. It's welded on, but it's mated to a 10-speed cassette, which is nice. And this has a clutch. One of the reasons we bought this bike, and I think it's great for beginners, is because it doesn't have a front derailleur, so it's simple, has a clutch. If you don't know what a clutch is, no worries. Basically what a clutch is allows your drivetrain to be a lot stiffer when you're going over bumps. So it keeps it stiff so it doesn't bounce around a lot, and has a release when you need to take the wheel off. Then it allows this to move. So great for a beginner to be able to get the best riding experience without all the noise and chatter that comes with a lot of typically bikes at this price range. The cassette is a Sunrace. It's in a 10-speed 1146, so you have that big gear if you live somewhere and need to climb. Looks like a decent cassette. Not high-end, but it's definitely not a low-end Sunrace cassette, which is nice. And it's mated with a KMC 10-speed chain. I did forget to mention the bottom bracket. It does have a square tapered, so so you're not going to have external cut bottom bracket at this price point, but perfectly fine for most people. Down the road, if you wanted to make it lighter, get a nicer crankset, you could. You just have to swap out that bottom bracket and get a nicer crank. All right, for your cockpit, you have 740 millimeter bars on the medium to extra large, and then 720 millimeters on the smaller sizes, which is nice. Some brands do the same for all of them. Norco doesn't. Your stem, 60 millimeters, 31.8 handlebars. So not a super short stem, but not too long either. You have a Norco brand saddle, which seems decent enough cushion. 31.6 seat post. As I mentioned before, it is dropper post compatible internal. Your routing down there. One thing I will note, I don't do kickstands and don't really recommend them for people, but with beginner bikes, sometimes you do have people that do want to put kickstands. A lot of bikes don't have mounts. This one does. So if you did want to do a kickstand, there you go. For your cockpit, you have grips. These are not lock-on. Shifter 10-speed trigger Shimano. All right, let's talk brakes. at this price point, which is nice. And one reason I recommend this version over the lower Storms is you get hydraulic brakes, Tektro M275s, which is nice to have on a beginner bike. And they are paired up front with a 160 millimeter 6-bolt rotor, and in the back also 160 millimeters. And let's finish it off with your wheels and tires. These come stock with Maxxis Recons 29 by 2.25. To see on a bike of this price point is nice to see a name brand tire. The Recons they're definitely a faster rolling tire, so if you need a lot of traction, this probably isn't it, but it's fine for a beginner. No, these are not tubeless ready. Yeah, you probably could do tubeless if you tape the rim. I will say this rim is on the narrow side, so 2.25 is probably going to be your max width that you're going to be able to go, at least in that range. All right, guys, well, that's going to pretty much do it for the Norco Storm. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you think of this bike as a good beginner mountain bike for those just getting into the sport or just don't want to spend a lot of money on a hardtail. I think it's a pretty sweet value, which is why we picked them up. If you're local to Houston, come check us out and throw a leg over one of these and see what you think. I think it's a great option for a lot of people and a great way to get you into the sport of mountain biking. All right, guys, well, that's going to end today's video. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments about the Norco Storm or maybe another bike that you're kind of not sure how it compares. I get a lot of those comments sometimes, and so I'd be glad to give you my honest opinion. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more from Biking Roots. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Have a great one, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.